Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Rachel and I'll be your presenter here for the next 20 minutes. And today we're going to be talking about different type of batch reports you can get. So there's a couple different ways in donations that you can get batch reports out. You can get a batch report while you're working on entering donations. And you can also get a batch report after you've posted your donation. So there's two things that I want to clarify before we jump into too much further. There's an unposted batch report, and then there's also a posted batch report. So two things can be really handy depending on if you print both of them or not, but we are going to talk about both of them. The information that I'm using is from our Donations 102 workbook. The first thing I want to show you all is how to get a batch report printed before you post your batch. Okay, so a lot of people I talk to, I entered a saved batch here, let me pull it up. A lot of people I talk to, they like to print a batch report out before they post. This allows them to kind of look over the data, make sure everything looks okay, maybe give it to somebody else to check things over to make sure everything is entered properly before they hit the post button. A lot of people do this as a process to reduce errors that they need to correct after posting. Now you can still correct things after you post it, but again, a lot of people like to follow this procedure of printing it out, putting eyeballs on it, double checking it prior to posting. So if that sounds like that is something that you guys do or would like to do as a procedure for your church, you can definitely get some really good unposted batch reports here from the Enter Donation screen. So I put in some just fake giving here. There's 5 entries down here at the bottom of the Enter Donation screen. Something I want to point out that I feel like not a lot of people know about is over here on the right, you have a detail tab and an account tab. All right, so if we stay on detail, it is going to be just that, very detailed information per person of what we've entered and the other information that follows with that transaction. So here's Morgan, here's the gift, here's the check number, this is the giving account, and then also any comments that we might have popped in. This is all down here on the detail tab. Now if I jump over here to the account tab, it's going to group it by my giving accounts. So within each giving account, if I expand the section, I'm going to see who gave to it and how much, along with their check number and the donations comments. Now, the reason why I'm showing you that is because depending on which tab you have selected here off to the right, that's going to change how your report prints out when you do an unposted batch report down here at the bottom. Okay? So for example, if I stay on detail and I do print and I do show detail, it is going to give me, I'm not going to change anything here, I'm going to hit print, it's going to give me a very detailed report, hence show detail, okay? So each giver, their check number, their amount, their account, and their donation comments. Now, you can come in here and you can change these columns, okay, which is part of the presentation today that I want to go over. You can say you don't put in the check number when you enter donations, you can remove this column. Or say you actually enter line item comments instead of donation comments. You can change your columns on this specific report. So to do that, after you hit print, you come up here to the columns tab and you can move check number over to the left by highlighting and hitting the left facing arrow. And you can get rid of donation comments as well. And then you can highlight line item comments, move that over to the right. And you could also put over pledge. Say you want to see what pledge year this gift is going towards. You can add that. So the nice thing about the batch report is going to that columns tab, whether you print an unposted batch report or a posted batch report, and it will show you the columns you pick, okay? Line item columns, pledge, account, and you can see we got rid of check number, all right? You can also mess with the column width. Say the account column is just way too long. We can take that down to 20 and print again, and that's going to get it a little tighter here and maybe save you some paper, Okay, so columns tab is going to be really crucial for what you see on the report itself. And that goes for any report we have in Church Windows. Now, let's say we do stay on detail, but we come down to print and we go down to hide detail. Not going to change anything. As you can see, our columns tab is gone, and I just hit print, and this is going to give you just that real simple basic report, name, total. Okay, so these are kind of little cheats or shortcuts to get you to the report you need quicker. So if I jump over here to account and I hit print and I do show detail, not going to change anything here. I'm going to hit print, and it's going to give me, again, a lot of good information. Now I can still go into that columns tab and I can get rid of columns or add columns if I wish. But this is going to give you the most information. Same thing if I close out of here, I can hit print again. I'm still on the account tab, and I'm going to go to hide detail, and it's going to give me just that. It's going to give me each giving account, how much went to it. So these are quick little shortcuts for you to be able to get the exact information you want. Now keep in mind up at the top, because I'm printing before I hit post, everything's going to say unposted. That's going to be your tell for whether you've posted this batch or not. Because I get people who call me and they say, I have a report, but I can't find my batch. Well, what does it say, posted or unposted at the top? Well, it says unposted. Okay, so that tells us you haven't posted it yet. That's why you're not seeing it in posted batches. You need to come back in here to your unposted batches and find it that way. All right, so that is a quick overview for your reports. Now, one more thing I want to show you here. If we come down and I do show detail, when you adjust your columns, see my columns reverted back to the default. It brought back check number and it brought back donation comments. If I for sure don't want to see check number or donation comments and I want my line item comments and I want pledge, I always want those to print. You can set this as a default, so you don't have to come here and change it every time. All you have to do is come down here to the lower left and check Save Selections as default. You have to hit print. That is the key to make it stick. Once you hit print, it's going to remember those columns that you picked. So the next time you come into this report and you go to print and you hit show detail, it's going to remember that you want line item comments and pledge. So it's going to make that setting as your default so you don't have to change it every time. Okay? This is that Save Selections as default checkbox. It's really important, and then you have to hit print to make it stick, if you will. Okay, so that's the unposted batch report. Now let's go jump into posted batches. So this is where we were yesterday, and again, we're kind of starting here on page, looks like 29 and donations 102. You can easily come back in here and print a batch. So let's say a couple questions I got yesterday was, what do I do if I forget to add a donation to a batch or it comes in late? Go through enter donations, just post that one gift with the same date, the same batch code, and it's going to lump up with what's already existing here in posted batches. Now, after you do that, a lot of times you need to reprint that report because now you have all of the giving included for that day. Come back into posted batches, click to highlight the batch in question. Let's go with this one. And then down here at the bottom, you're going to hit print selected. And it's going to open up a window very, very similar to the window that you had when we were printing from the enter donation screen. All right. This screen does have the filter tab, so it is going to give you some more options to filtering down to what you need. So say you just want to see your EFT gifts. You could do that. I would say 9 times out of 10, when people print a batch report, you do not need to change anything on the filter tab specifically. The main thing you're going to want to focus on is your group and sort tab and your columns tab. And again, we talked about columns a little bit already. So columns tab is going to be just that. It's going to be the columns or the column headers of information you are going to see for your specific batch. So right now on that columns tab, we are getting account, transaction number, amount, check number. Oh, that's donation comments. It's wrapping down to the next page. We can fix that. But that is where, here we go. Those are the specific columns that you are picking on that columns tab. So if you're like, man, I really want to see, I don't really need to see the transaction number. I'm not really worried about that. You could simply come back in here to transaction number, move it to the left, get rid of it, and then of course you have that Save Selections as Default button. Check that, then hit print, and then that will always leave that transaction number column off the report unless you specifically ask for it. Okay? Now, another really, really important tab in this report is this Group and Sort tab. I feel like this gets skipped over a lot, and I'm not sure why, but this little tab is going to be very powerful for getting you the information grouped and sorted the way you want. So right now, Sort Field 1 is on Giver, and it's checked Group by Field 1. So again, let me show you what that looks like. Grouped by giver. So our giver is our bold because that's what it's grouping by, and that's why we're getting our total here, okay? And then we're getting our other column or information below. Now, if I only want to see the total for each giver of how much they gave, I can come over here and I can simply check totals only and hit print, and it's going to do just that. It's going to give me the giver name, how much they gave for this specific batch. Now, couple other options you can do as well. You could also do giver, sort field 1, and then we could come down to sort field 2, and then you could sort by account. So you could get really specific on how this information shows. So after the giver, then it's going to group by your giving account as well. Okay. Now, with that said, let's come up here next to sort field 1, and let's put account in here. Let's change things around. Let's do account. We're going to leave group by field 1 checked, and then I'm going to come down here, but I'm going to put giver in here, I think. Let's see what that does. Get rid of giver there because I'm already sorting grouping by it, and I'll hit print. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. I need giver over there. That's my fault. And now when I hit print, I'm going to get the grouping by the account, which is bolded up here, and here's my total, and then it's going to give me all the people and their transaction information that gave to this account for my batch with my grand total. And then same thing as we move down through the list. So every giving account that was hit, now it's grouped by that, and then it's going to give me the details below that. If I don't want the details, if I don't want to see the giver's name for whatever reason, again, get rid of that giver column like I goofed on there a second ago. But you can also come in here and you can check totals only. And then when you hit print, you're going to get just that. Simple report, each giving account that was given money for this batch. Here's our posted again up here at the top, and then here's our total. All right. So what I suggest people do, because every church I talk to seems to have a different type of posted batch report that they like and how they want it laid out. Come in here, and between your group and sort tab and your columns tab, really play around with it until you get the layout that you like. Okay, so figure out what information you need to see, choose those as your columns, and then decide how you like it grouped. Some people I talk to, they print two. They like one grouped by giver, and then they like one grouped by the account. That gives them a quick way to check and verify things are correct, especially for if they use accounting. But it's up to you. You can't break anything in here in reports, so really come in here and play with the layout until you figure out what you want. Again, you can use this with column to come in and change the different lengths of each column. Maybe one's too long or one's too short, or you want to try to squeeze it on one page. That's where that with column is really going to come in handy for you to make those adjustments to fit the way you want. Okay, and again, use that Save Selection as Default checkbox down at the bottom. Once you get it the way you like, check it, hit print, and then it's going to stay like that until you check that box and override it.